Not the best of news for the northern plains, upper Midwest this week, as hot weather will be rebuilding into the high plains, the Great Plains, the northern plains, and parts of the western edge of the Corn Belt. That hot weather means dry, because even if we do get some thunderstorms, and there will be storms, it's not likely to be enough overall rainfall to keep up with the additional evaporation brought about by the hot temperatures and, of course, the dry soils. There will be an area of rain that will be persistent. We'll show you where that is. It all has, of course, everything to do with the jet stream, and a ridge of high pressure is building in the jet out across the western part of the country. You're going to hear this week about temperatures getting up into the 90s and hundreds out of the Pacific Northwest, and even up into British Columbia. Is going to be some really very hot weather. We'll start off the week modestly cool in the northern plains, but the hot weather will likely connect. So in the western U.S., the only places not extraordinarily hot will be the high altitudes of the Rocky Mountains. Hot weather in Texas, hot weather across the south. Northern Corn Belt, Great Lakes, not too bad. But you can see, and by the red phase here, we're talking temperatures into the 90s to around 100 degrees, and that's going to keep spreading east as this ridge builds in. So northern plains, upper Midwest, this whole region is going to have some very warm weather this week, and that's going to mean a lot of persistent evaporation, and things will likely be getting dry where we can't find any storms. Now, as we go into the 4th of July Independence Day weekend and the week that follows, more of the same. The jet stream ridge will start to crash, but it's still going to leave some pretty hot temperatures into the northern plains, and much of the Midwest will be in the 90s as we go into that first full week of July. So with that in mind, the rainfall is going to be confined down here to the same parts of the nation that have been getting persistently wet this week. It's going to be down along the Gulf Coast, up into the southern part of the Corn Belt. A lot of thunder showers, and we're starting to see monsoonal moisture being pulled into the southwest, so that's going to bring some storms into West Texas. But most of the Great Plains this week, most of the Rockies, most of the West Coast is simply going to be dry. Now, as we get toward the 4th and the week after the 4th, there will be an opportunity for some storms up into the northern plains. But as I said before, likely not enough persistent moisture to keep up with the general hot temperatures. The heaviest rains will be in the south. Some of these storms in the north, though, will have the potential to drop some heavy rainfall, but they're going to be hit and miss. They're going to be July storms. The dry weather, the bone dry weather, will retreat a bit as the southwest monsoon pulls moisture north. But overall, there simply is not going to be, as I see it, in most locations, enough moisture building in out of the storms to keep up with the heat, which means the continued drought conditions will likely get worse.